Alright guys, I grind Yu-Gi-Oh! We back with another top 8 OTS deck profile. Introduce yourself.
Isaiah Raphael.
And what did you play today?
I played Exosister in my OTS championship, and I got top 8.
Top 8. Alright man, congratulations. First time on the channel. Love to see it. I'm glad you're here, man. Let's show us what you're working with.
Thanks, man. So I got 3 copies of Martha and 3 copies of Ellis. These these are the best 2. I didn't play any of the other ones. Stella is not technically a bad card. I think it's fine. If you wanted to play her, I chose not to play that card because I wanted to experiment with a build that focused entirely on seeing the cards that get you the most advantage. And Martha's obviously the best starter in the deck, and Ellis accompanies with her. You have to have 3 for the combo that you play with them. So that's why I chose just to play these 6. Then I played 6 spirits. So yeah, the biggest theory about my deck is like I just want the cards that give me the most value in the least amount of quantity. I didn't want to play too many cards like the Cyberdark package. I think that like it's in theory it's fine, but it adds more cards to your deck that I just don't want to draw as over the course of the game. But like if I'm top decking and I have like a 4 in hand, drawing this is great. Drawing this is great. Drawing either of those 2 over here was great. So that was my focus. It was purely on having the cards that gave me the most advantage. Which is also why instead of playing 2 copies of Stella, I tried this card out, and it was really good today. Normally, I kind of moved away from this card, mostly because it causes your extra deck to be a little weird with Prosperity. But I just couldn't ignore the fact that it helps you with your follow-up in the stuff like Kaijus and Nibiru. And the fact is, it just gives you more advantage. You're not losing cards while you're playing out your turn, because I feel like that can be an issue with the Exosister deck. You have to have high commitment, and you have trouble with follow-up. And this card was like the best option I could find to help fix that issue, while also still being a good card you want to draw. It sucks that you have the chance of drawing it with this guy. You can't really use one or the other, but this card does so much on its own that it's worth it to have this for the follow-up.
Okay.
So like, I never got stuck in this while playing today. I always had options, and I was able to push a lot thanks to having so many high-quality cards. And then the standard stuff, 3 Shifter, the best Exosister. I don't have to explain this card. 3 Ash. This card was it was fine today. I drew it in matches that I needed. I wouldn't say it was too crazy and too impactful, but it was good. I'd keep playing it. And that's it for the main deck monsters. 3 Prosperity, 3 packs. My 2 favorite spells in the game. They see my entire engine, and this card sees whatever I'm missing. This card, like, yeah, this card definitely should have found its way on the list somehow. But the fact that it didn't, I'm gonna keep playing it. This card smooths out your hands in the best way possible, and it gives you a chance into matchups you wouldn't otherwise have. I shouldn't have to say this much about the card.
And I'm not gonna lie, you godly with that packs. I seen the guy do the Chimera thing to pop a random and you packs to add another card. That way to make it. I never seen nobody do that. So.
Yeah, if I let him do that, I would have lost my Martha and lost my follow-up. So I used the on-field packs to add a card that I'm playing in my side deck to my hand and played the 50-50, and he hit it, which allowed me to win the game.
True.
But I probably could have still won even if that happened. I was just so far ahead because he missed. Yeah. 3 books, 3 Lance. I like these 2, especially in this ratio. Lance is for primarily talents and opposing books, but talents is the best bet I've gotten out of it. And then books is mostly for Kashtira. I don't know if I'd play this once the new list goes into effect, but for the meantime, I think I'll keep it and see how it performs, because it's still a solid card.
Definitely.
It's kind of like Imperm in the sense that it's something you can draw going second to help you push boards, because like a lot of people tell you can't break boards with this deck, but I didn't win a single die roll today.
Yeah.
And not a single die roll.
Definitely could break boards.
I went second every time, and I was winning matchups. Like, you can break boards, you just draw the good cards.
Yeah.
And then this card was I didn't really get talents in a way that I could have used this today. So it kind of underperformed, but I keep playing it just because talents only get stronger like with every set. But I had cool uses out of it today. My opponent, who was playing Branded Chimera, he tried making Guardian Chimera with his monsters on board, and I used this to target the bad fusion of the bad monster he had on field that he would have fused off for Chimera. So he had to make Chimera, he had to use the good one, which just gave me so much advantage. Like it was a Fenrir and a Rimbrum. He had to fuse off to try and make Chimera to clear my board.
He forced his option.
Yeah, and it's like this card just does a lot if you know how to use it. If you only use it for one way, it won't feel as good. But you can use this card. It's also like these are my cards for Pearly, by the way, because they both stop the trap. So that's why I play them.
I haven't seen a Pearly here in a while either.
Yeah, Pearly. I didn't play any today. And then the last two engine traps. One Vadis, one Returnia. I chose to play one Returnia because I cut down on the Stellas that I was playing. If I were playing more Exo names, I'd play this card at 2. But because I cut back, I only really wanted 1. And then I chose to continue playing Vadis because this card is great into Nibiru. Having this in my hand, like some people will tell you, like it's not that good when your opponent knows that you have it, but it's like that's not always true. Sometimes your opponent can't really make a legitimate play. Like if you have Vadis plus Book, Zeus doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? Vadis plus Imperm, like your opponent's got to interact with you, and it performed really well today. I got nibbed by Kashtira twice, and like just having this card won me the game. So I would continue to play 1 and 1. And then the rest of the traps, Imperm and main deck evenly. The best 6 card in your deck is really this card, but this card's a good one. Main deck evenly.
If not that one, this one is.
Yeah. No one's expecting this card in the main deck, and it's just it's kind of my theory with my deck. Like I could play a bigger engine, but I don't see the point in playing a bigger engine because I could just resolve evenly and get rid of the problem cards on my opponent's field anyway. And that's what I wanted to do, and it worked. It performed really well. I'm continuing to play this card in my main deck. I think it's really good, at least for this deck. So that's it for the main deck. 40 cards exactly.
40 cards.
Yeah. And now for the extra. The extra is completely streamlined. 2 Magnifica, 3 Micaias, 2 Caspitel, 2 Jibrin, and 1 Asophiel for the Exosister names. I think this is the ideal ratio for all of them. You need to have at least one of these really, but with the engines that you play, this card you really get a lot of value out of having 2. But you can always banish 1 off Prosperity if you want. But like really, I only ever actually go through 1 in a game, as weird as it sounds, but I like to have 2 for Prosperity, so I wouldn't cut it for like Zeus Mat or anything like that. I think you want to play 2, even if I do think I only use 1 as often as I played today. 2 Jibrin, you want to have 2, they help you go for game. Like you want to have 1 to summon on your opponent's turn, you'll want to have 1 to summon on your turn so you can like OTK your opponent. And then the 1 Asophiel, it's good for its matchups. The matchups where Dweller's good, this is what we have it for. It's also our out to Mirror Jade, which came up today. It stops Mirror Jade's follow-up by sending the Albion to the graveyard, and then you can target the Mirror Jade and return it to the extra deck. You won't have to deal with the destruction effect. So it was just, it's good. I don't think I would play any more of this one in this current format, but if Unchained and Tier Limit dominate, I could see myself moving up on it. So that's it for the Exos. And then 1 Exciton, 1 Zeus, 1 Ninaru, 1 Artemis, and 1 Donner. These cards these cards are for the Zorua package, so there's not much to say about them. Although I did use this card in my Runic matchup at round 2 to target my Shifter and add it back to my hand, and then re-shifted my opponent on Runic, and he just couldn't keep up. So this card has applications that you can actually get from summoning it. But yeah, aside from that, you really don't do that too often. Exciton Knights is like my answer to not having a 4-mat Zeus. If you can summon Exciton Knight and then blow up a field, swing, and then make a Zeus, it's functionally the same thing as Zeusing twice most of the time. That's why I chose to play this, just to trim down the extra. And then Donner is kind of just a flex spot pick. It doesn't really come up. Like, you could play it for Nibiru, But like if you're making this card and you get nibbed, you're probably still losing it.
Still, yeah. Still negging yourself.
Yeah, you're probably still losing. Like most cases, when you get nibbed, you can't make this anyway. It's just there. It could be another card, maybe even a third Magnifica. That's it for the extra, and then for the side deck, 1 Duster, 3 Cosmic. I don't play Lightning Storm. The reason why is I don't want to lose the anti-spell fragrance. Konami completely forgot that card was a thing, so I chose to play Cosmic Cyclone. Cosmic's really good. It came up in every single matchup that I needed it to, and I continue to play this ratio of them. 3 Dark Ruler. This card didn't really do too much today, but in theory, like I just want to draw good cards that help me win in specific matchups, and it's why I chose to play this over something like Ultimate Slayer that might be good at breaking the Unchained board. I tested it, but I didn't like it because as often as possible I was drawing it with Shifter, and most of the like you can't use Slayer under Shifter, and in most cases with any 2 non-engine cards you could probably break most boards anyway. And like I have an 80% chance to see 2 non-engine cards. Sometimes that means drawing 2 copies of Forbidden Lance and it doesn't really matter. Other times you're like blowing your opponent away with Imperm Evenly. 2 Evenlies, I resolved that today into Sprite. Like he carrot negated it and I just hit him with the second one. And then Prosperity, I just wanted to make my deck as consistent as possible, and I want to have options for that. So I'd probably continue to play Dark Ruler. This was the tech that I wanted to experiment with for Nibiru and Triple Tactics Talents, because I wanted a card that could beat both, and this is really the only card that does it. You can make if you open this with your linear combo, you can call Nibiru on your turn, and then your opponent can't nib you. And then on your opponent's turn, as you summon your Magnifica, you can call Talents blind, or if you have an idea of what your opponent's up to and any particular card might beat you that isn't Talents, you can always call that particular card. Like for example, against Branded, I've called Branded Fusion before and won with this card. And it's also just good in the back row decks, like Skill Drain, like those cards don't matter because I can just declare an attack, or I can Exceed Summon and negate it while the card is still on the field. So the Prohibition effect is the reason why I play it, and I don't know, it didn't really come up too much today, but I think in theory...
But when you don't have it, it'll come up.
Yeah, right? Like the games where I got nibbed, I didn't see it. I only got nibbed in my round 1. But it was both games. I got nibbed going first. No, I got nibbed going second both games. I went second both games. I didn't go first. I still won, but I never got decided in. But I think if I got decided in, it would still be good. Just because if you lose, you get nibbed, it's kind of tough if you don't have like Bodice and like good non-engine to stop your opponent. And then goes in match. This card kind of underperformed. I didn't really get to see it in the matchups it would have been good in. I'm going to continue to play it because I want 6 cards that are hard good for going going first. And goes in match was one of the better ones into most of your matchups. And then the last is Judgment. Not much to say here. I want to protect my investment, so I play Judgment. So yeah, that's it.
All right, man. Thanks for doing the deck profile. Any words for the next format in this deck? How you feel about it going into the next format?
Kashtira's gone. That card was kind of like the magnet. All the cards that kind of screw you over were good against that deck, so you kind of got like blindsided by that effect. But now that it's gone, people are going to start shaving the cards that deal with like a Rise Heart specifically. You know, as Pearly eventually fades out, eventually Kaijus may drift out of the format, and suddenly this deck just becomes a lot less easy to hate out of your like normal engine. But even still, if you can pilot the deck right, you should still be good anyway.
People could start using the graveyard. They can still use the graveyard even more now, so even better. So
yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for the deck profile. I grind Yu-Gi-Oh. We out.
Have a good one.